What if I told you that there are invisible scars carried by people who don't even imagine the weight they are bearing? Marks that leave no physical scar, but burn into the soul like an ancient sign. Marks that don't come from baptisms, positions, or titles, but from something much deeper and forbidden. There are people who walk this world with signs that separate them from the masses. They are no better, but they were called, chosen, marked by something most eyes cannot see. And these marks have always existed. They are in the scriptures, in the prophets, in the martyrs, in the forgotten. But there's one detail. No one ever told you this, and maybe that's no coincidence. Today, you'll learn about the 7 forbidden marks that only the truly chosen carry, even if in silence. Marks that were hidden, concealed, and now are about to be revealed. So if you've made it this far, it's no accident. You might be one of them, or you're about to find out. And if this kind of revelation speaks to you, if this content appeals to you in any way, subscribe to the channel now. This guarantees you access before this video disappears or is silenced like so many others have been. Now, look inside, because the first mark, you may have already felt it without knowing it. Have you ever felt like you don't belong anywhere? Like you're here, but you don't belong here? This is the first mark, a silent pain, an existential discomfort. It's not depression, it's not ordinary melancholy, it's something deeper. It's an invisible weight carried by those who have been called to something they don't even yet understand. The chosen ones feel this from an early age. As children, they were more introspective, sensitive. They questioned the world, adults, and rules. They noticed things others ignored. While most were playing carefree, they were already thinking about life, death, and the reason for their existence. Those who bear this mark carry a heavy silence within. In the Bible, there are many examples of this spiritual pattern. Jeremiah heard the voice of God saying, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I sanctified you. I ordained you a prophet to the nations." This isn't about being better, it's about being marked from the start, set apart without asking, chosen before you were even born, and that comes at a cost. These people often experience deep inner conflicts. They question themselves and feel a constant spiritual restlessness. They are often misunderstood, even within their own family. It's as if they carry an invisible mission, but don't yet know what it is. This discomfort is the soul crying out for purpose. It's the mark of those called to something beyond logic. They can't conform to the world, and the world senses it. That's why they're labeled as different, intense, too sensitive. But behind this is the echo of a divine choice. The chosen ones almost always experience moments of extreme loneliness, not because they have no one around, but because they feel like no one truly understands them. And this isolation is not a coincidence, it is preparation. God separates, silences, hides, until the time comes. And when it arrives, something awakens, a thirst to understand what once hurt, a hunger for answers the world can't offer. If you feel this weight, this feeling of being stranger in this world, this may be your first mark, and you are not alone. In fact, there are many like you out there, awakening, feeling, being called back to their origin. And do you know what is the clearest sign that this mark is on you? You could never ignore that pain. Even though you tried to fit in, you always knew you didn't completely belong. This is the first mark, and it always hurts before revealing its mission. But now that you recognize it, get ready for the second one, because the next sign is not seen with the eyes, it appears in dreams. If the first mark manifests itself in the soul, the second appears when the eyes close. The dreams. But not ordinary dreams. We're talking about recurring visions, strange symbols, spiritual warfare, people we've never seen, but who seem real. Situations where you wake up with your heart racing, as if you've lived another reality. This is the second mark of the chosen, a spiritual connection that reveals itself at night while the body rests, but the soul is in motion. Throughout the Bible, God spoke countless times through dreams, to Joseph, to Daniel, to the wise men from the East, dreams that changed destinies, prevented deaths, and foretold future events. And it shall come to pass in the last days, saith the Lord, I will pour out of my Spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and your young men shall see visions, and dream your old dreams. For those who carry this mark, dreams seem encoded, and many wake up with the feeling that someone wanted to convey a message. But there is a disturbing detail. Most churches ignore or undervalue these signs. Why? Because not every dream can be easily interpreted. And many challenge the traditional doctrinal framework. They speak of warnings, of wars yet to come, of judgments, of spiritual portals, things that the natural eye cannot understand, but that the spirit recognizes. People with this mark have dreamed of the end of the world, of angels, of screams, of ancient symbols, and often they've woken up crying, trembling, with the certainty that it was more than a dream. Some are haunted in their dreams by shadowy figures. Others receive warnings before real events. Still others hear voices in their sleep, names, phrases, commands, and you know the scariest thing? Many of these people think they're going crazy, but in reality, they're waking up. This mark is a direct spiritual channel, which not everyone has, and which the chosen ones cannot turn off. It's no coincidence, it's a frequency, and only those who have been tuned in by something greater can capture it. If you have dreams that feel like visions, if you wake up with messages, names, or feel like you've seen something that's yet to happen, that's your second mark. And the more you ignore it, the stronger it gets. Because these messages don't come from nowhere, they come from above, to warn, prepare, and direct the chosen for what is to come. And if any of these brands have made your skin crawl so far, like them now, not out of vanity, but because it shows YouTube that you want to keep receiving these hidden revelations that almost no one has the courage to expose. Now get ready. The third mark is visible, but not on the body. It's in the eyes, and the spirit world knows exactly what it means. The third mark is the most noticeable to those who live in the spirit. It's not a tattoo, a physical sign, or something seen in a mirror. It's something that manifests itself in the person's gaze, presence, and atmosphere. This brand is recognized by those who are also branded. You know that kind of person who walks into a room and changes the mood? The air becomes heavier or lighter, eyes turn, even if they don't say a word. This is the manifestation of the third mark, the spiritual weight of the presence of someone who carries a calling. The chosen one doesn't need to speak. He carries authority even in silence. And the spirit world senses this. Demons are disturbed. People can't explain it, but they feel something different. In the Bible, this was common. When the disciples passed by, even their shadows healed. This wasn't magic, it was a mark. It was the presence of God imprinted on the soul, flowing through the body. Many who bear this mark try to hide. They suppress themselves, silence themselves. But it's no use. The mark is visible in the invisible, and sooner or later it will be noticed. People with this mark attract attention on the street, are sought out for advice, even without offering help, and face intense spiritual attacks, not because they are in sin, but because they carry something the enemy fears. This marked presence carries a burden, because the more light you emanate, the more the darkness tries to extinguish it, and the chosen one feels this. They sense when there is resistance, when the atmosphere weighs heavily, when glances become silent judgments. But all of this is a sign that you have been separated, and this separation, however painful, is the seal of something much greater. If you experience this, if you feel that your presence bothers you for no reason, if people approach you to open up to you as if you carried answers, it's because your presence carries this third mark. And get ready, because the fourth mark goes beyond you. It affects everything around you. The fourth mark of the chosen is the pattern of inexplicable losses and trials. Have you ever wondered why seemingly good, compassionate, and conscientious people live with seemingly endless struggles? Why everything goes wrong, even when you're trying to do everything right? This is the brand that few can stand, and that's why few remain. The chosen ones experience profound losses, broken relationships, unfair betrayals, doors that close without explanation, sudden illnesses, emotional failure, crises that seem illogical. But here's the secret. These trials aren't punishments. They're furnaces where character is forged, where the ego dies, where the soul is purified, and where only the truly called stand firm. Job was an example of this. He lost everything: friends, possessions, children, health. And yet, he remained. And in the end, he received double. But what few people talk about is that before the glory comes the mark. And that mark is heavy. It drives away the weak. It silences the arrogant. And it reveals who has truly been chosen. Because those without purpose can't handle the process. If your life seems like a series of meaningless battles, know this. It's a sign of greatness. No one attacks an unarmed soldier. The enemy only focuses on those who pose a real threat. The losses, the tears, the silences, these are all codes, signs that heaven is shaping you, painfully, yes, but with a glorious end. Now take a deep breath, because the next milestone is the most feared of all. It's the one few accept because it demands sacrifice, and renunciation is the price of those who have truly been called. The fifth mark is the most painful and the most powerful: forced separation. The chosen ones will sooner or later be torn from places, people, or structures that no longer serve God's purpose. No matter how hard they try to hold on, insist, or remain, they will be separated. Of old friendships, of intense relationships, of religious environments that no longer nourish, of dreams that seemed certain but were merely illusions. This separation is not punishment. It is protection. It is heaven shouting, "You cannot flourish in the same soil where you almost died." In the Bible, this happens to all those called. Moses had to be removed from the palace. Joseph was separated from his family. Abraham had to leave his land, his relatives, his comfort zone. Why? Because their mission did not fit into the old structure. And maybe you're going through exactly that. People are moving away. Doors are closing. Places that once welcomed you now reject you. But what if I told you, this isn't the end? It's just the beginning of your activation. The mark of separation comes with pain, yes, but it opens space for a profound encounter with God, because when everyone abandons you, that's when He draws closest. You begin to see with different eyes, to hear with different ears, to discern with a spiritual level that frightens even yourself. And in that moment, you understand. It wasn't rejection, it was redirection. If you've lost everything, but still feel something powerful pulsing inside you, then you carry that mark. And you need to know, no one is separated without having a mission. The sixth mark is the invisible call, and it has already begun to echo within you, even if silently. This mark is an urgency, a restlessness that won't leave you alone. You may be working, studying at church with your family, but something inside you is pushing you, as if you know you were born for something greater, as if your soul is being pulled by a purpose yet to be fully revealed. This is not ambition, it is not vanity. It is calling. The chosen ones feel this strongly. It's as if a voice constantly says, "Prepare yourself, you will be used." And the more you try to run away, the more that voice haunts you. Jeremiah tried to run, Moses tried to run, Jonah ran, but they were all caught, because it wasn't about wanting, it was about being. The mark of calling is subtle, but constant. It makes you question everything. It keeps you from settling. It compels you to strive for more. Even if everyone around you says you're already doing so much, but you know you're not, because deep down, you feel like you haven't started yet. This mark is activated over time, and when that time comes, nothing else satisfies you. Not applause, not positions, not status, not money, only obedience. And when you align with this, doors open. But not just any doors, doors of the impossible. Because the royal calling doesn't come with comfort, it comes with confrontations. But also with miracles. And if you've recognized these marks so far, take a deep breath, because the last one is the most dangerous and the holiest. The seventh mark is hidden consecration. The truly chosen go through a process where God consecrates them in secret, not in pulpits, not on stages, but in the bedroom, in the desert, in the valley. This mark is silent but visible in the spiritual world. It is a divine seal that says, "This is mine." And consecration does not happen when everyone sees it. It happens when no one sees it. In hidden fasting, in prayer cried at dawn, in forgiveness given without recognition, in what is unsaid when everything wanted to say yes. Those who bear this mark need no titles, for their authority does not come from men. It comes from heaven. They are ordinary people with an uncommon presence, who carry an atmosphere, who move environments, who disturb demons just by stepping into a place, but who remain invisible to the eyes of the world, because your consecration is not displayed, it is lived. This is the most dangerous mark, because it bothers even religious people. She breaks systems, she confronts structures, she breaks chains. Because she doesn't obey men, she obeys God. If you feel like you are being prepared in silence, if you have already gone through the previous pains, if you have lost everything but gained discernment, then you carry this last mark. And he's ready for what's next. Now take a deep breath. You just learned about the 7 forbidden marks of the chosen ones. And if any of them sparked something inside you, don't ignore it, because these marks are no coincidence. They are silent summons, spiritual signs that there is something greater happening behind the visible reality. Maybe now you understand why you've always felt out of place, why you carry pain that no one understands, why you dream of things that seem impossible. Why, even in silence, something inside you has never stopped burning. You were set apart, not by merit, but by purpose. And those marks are the reminder that you are not ordinary. Many throughout history have borne these same marks: prophets, martyrs, men and women forgotten by systems, but remembered in heaven. But there is something even more disturbing. Why does the modern church almost never talk about this? The answer is simple and dangerous, because these brands don't fit institutional standards. They defy control. They are alive, spiritual, and out of the box. And whoever wakes up never goes back to sleep. That's why silence reigns on these matters. Not because they're fake, but because they're all too real. And now, you have a choice. You can pretend none of this touched you, or you can acknowledge that these marks belong to you. And if that's your case, write in the comments now, "I am chosen by God." This isn't just a phrase, it's a public declaration, a spiritual cry that says, "I acknowledge what I carry, and I'm ready for whatever comes." And if this video resonated with you, like it now and subscribe to the channel. Not to inflate numbers, but to ensure you continue receiving content the world prefers to hide. Hit the bell, because the next videos will reveal even deeper truths, signs that are appearing now, and few are paying attention. How many of these marks do you believe you carry? And is there an eighth, hidden one that no one has yet dared to reveal?